Hello and welcome. Welcome back to CPR's Clubhouse Live. I am joined by the crew, the CPR's Clubhouse crew. You can catch them weekly in New York, also in California, and of course, New England. And welcoming my partners in crime, the Duchess, Cheryl Rodriguez, and of course, the man who assassinates vinyl, Cliff Potts. How are you?
Doing great.
Well, how are you?
We're awful, just awesome. Um, I I had a COVID scare. I had a couple of COVID scares, and I've had some friends come down with COVID. So I wanted to start with I thank God that I'm negative. I of course have been vaccinated, but you never know, right? But I also want to send
Right.
my well wishes to my friend Angel Cruz, and of course Alex Zuniga of Latin Nation, and anyone right now affected with COVID-19 and on the mend. We're going to have a discussion, a men's panel, a freestyle men's panel that I'm hoping to have soon here with different people that have been affected by COVID. We have lost freestyle artists to COVID in the last year and a half, and so I'm not sure why we continue to test the fate. You know what I mean, and not get vaccinated or feel like we're being told what to do. And this is not a public service announcement on what you should do or whatever, but I still think about like when you were going to school and before you went to school you had to have that vaccination card, you had to bring in. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what's the big deal. And then everybody gets all technical about stuff. But what we can 100% for sure know is there's a big difference between somebody who's vaccinated getting COVID and somebody who's unvaccinated getting COVID and the reaction. And so my well wishes to a good friend of mine, Angel Cruz, and again, Alex Zuniga of Latin Nation on the mend. Which brings me to the first topic for the crew. And there's a lot of shows happening. There's
Yeah.
been shows in Texas, shows in Florida, New York City, Illinois, Michigan, and there's some planned here in New England. How do you guys feel that is going to go forward in the future? Do you think that things are going to start shutting down again, or are we going to have to all be showing our vaccination cards before we go into these shows? What is your opinion, Cliff?
You know, wow. Yeah, I think you're going to start having to show some type of vaccination.
Right.
Because if you don't, the next step is for them to lock everything down like they did. And I don't think anybody wants to go through that, especially as it comes to the event scene, the promoters, the club
Yeah.
owners. They struggled.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to get back into it. And, what's better to either shut down or go to the process of saying, hey, show me you're vaccinated and I'll let you in.
I find it interesting that back in the day we used to wear those big rope chains with the names and stuff like that, or that we in New England, of course, I used to see this a lot, that a lot of people wanted these lanyards when they went to clubs because they wanted to be like, yo, 90.7 mother trucker, they would let them in. So now you're gonna have to wear the COVID one. Yeah, you got your wish 20 something
Yeah.
years later.
Really.
But Cheryl, what do you think? What is your opinion?
I agree. I think that we are going to be at a point where we're going to have to show the cards. It's the only way in. Although I not to go all negative, but I think come December or so, like my thinking is that it's not even going to matter because so many people who have been vaccinated are either still getting sick or spreading it.
Right.
And whether you show your card or not, yeah, you've been vaccinated, but that don't mean you weren't with somebody who had COVID 2 days ago. And we're seeing that it's getting spread more and more, so I don't even know if it's going to make a difference, having the
Yeah,
card or not.
and so it is also affecting freestyle shows.
Oh,
To bring it back to our community, like for example, there was a show in Texas. It wasn't a big turnout. There was maybe less than 100 people, I would say. Some people say less than 20. This is not a knock on them, but now that is affecting other shows in Texas
right.
because it's the level in Texas is pretty high. And so now, people are coming on social media and said, "Hey, I just got tested for COVID-19. I was, Alex Zuniga was putting a public warning, which is commendable for the
Yes.
people that were there. I do thank him for doing that. very brave of him because I've seen other shows not even care. But the fact that now that is creating kind of a wheel, spinning this tsunami, this, like it's building up, for an avalanche. You know what I mean? When it comes to freestyle shows in certain areas. My biggest concern, of course, Texas and Florida.
Right.
So
Florida is just
you have been,
crazy.
yeah, Cliff has been at the forefront of these events because he actually gets hired to DJ these events. So, what is your concern? Do you have any?
I mean, back when I was in Florida, 3 times earlier this year, I was vaccinated. The rates were going down, so it just made sense to do it. I mean, back in New York now, I've already turned down, 2 clubs twice because the rates are going up. And even that I'm vaccinated, I just still don't want to get it. So let the rates come back down, and then, hey, I'll go to something. But just because I'm vaccinated doesn't
Yeah.
mean if the rates are going up, I'm still going to go. I mean, I need to protect myself.
I this weekend I worked my regular job. I know that I had gone out of the state to marry my brother. I know that I have gone to Mohegan Sun to check out Tay Conti from AEW, and so I wore a mask for the event for Mohegan Sun. But then this past Friday I was feeling like I had a fever. I wasn't feeling well. Saturday, it got worse. I had the chills and everything. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, I'm super vaccinated. It can't happen to me, which is what people say. But I got
Hmm.
tested. My results were negative. Then I called my doctor. She's like, no, we need to do it again. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. So we did it again. And, thank goodness everything's copacetic. But some people are not lucky. I had my friend Angel Cruz again hospitalized. Not only does he have COVID-19, but he also had pneumonia. And there's a lot of people with pre-existing conditions. And I'm not here to preach to you, but it's a situation where for me, I want to take care of my stepdaughter. She is the only one in his household that cannot be vaccinated. Everyone else is, and we surrounded her with people who are vaccinated, but I don't want to bring anything back to her. She's important in my life. And I just want people to start thinking about those things instead of thinking about, I've been locked up for a year and a half. I need to go party and see Coro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nobody wants to go to a show more than me. Come on,
Oh,
like I'm bringing up Freestyle Fridays to you for like every Friday. I'm like, when can we do it? When is it going to be safe?
right.
But listen, like you say, not to get into the whole thing, to reiterate what you said, I have two kids, and though they are older than 12, so they're both vaccinated. They're about to go back to school. I'm worried like crazy. It
Mhm.
just they did mandate the mask here in town, so they will have to go back masked. But it's a very unsettling feeling, and though I would like kill somebody to go to a concert tomorrow night. Um, I went real quick. I went to the Mohegan as you did for a different kind of event not too long ago, and
Yeah.
I think that was my first take back. There were a lot of people,
Hmm.
and granted, a lot of them were masked, but a lot of them weren't, and so
Right.
it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But coming out of that event, though, I had like the time of my life. It was fabulous. I had a second view on. Wait, I don't know if I'm going to do this again. That was a little close and
Yeah.
nerve wracking. So, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
and
wait.
with the way that people are right now, bad breath is back. You know what I mean? Like people getting close to you, they're like, put your head on my shoulder. I'm like, yo, calm down. Like the come over here and give me a kiss in these hot mouth. You know what I mean?
And
Like calm down. But it's like, man, I love the mask because of the fact that people would just and it's always that there's always that one guy that got bad breath where you open up a brand new pack of gum and there could be 10 people in the room and you'll give every single person a piece of gum. And when you get to that person, they'll be like, nah, I'm okay, I'm good. Like, no, you're not.
you need this.
No. I say, if you don't eat this piece of gum, I'm gonna get Clorox bleach. All right. I'm gonna
And then
bar
there's the ones that are infamous for it because every time they come around, they're gonna have it, and then they don't let you down because they come near you and you're like, okay,
right.
it's a real problem, people. It's a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. And then we get the freestyle artists that don't understand, like, you're not supposed to drink adult beverages, right, before you go on stage. You're supposed to do it after. And man, do they have that hot, Schaefer smell? You know what I mean? Like it's bad. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, good Lord, pretty crazy. So, we hope that the shows continue, but safely, and people are going to be, measuring themselves when it comes to how far they're going to go into, putting themselves at risk. I can't tell you what to do. I know I have my beliefs. I know that I've seen a lot of things with my eyes, and I've had phone calls that have been difficult with people that I care about. But the only way people learn now is by going through it, right? So I guess some people have to go through it, and that's the bottom line, right? I had the opportunity today to listen to the Judy Torres podcast, and I was listening to the one episode she did with Trey from TKA, and they were talking about trolling, and I'm like, oh, they did one comment to you, and because can you imagine, they were CPR for the last 20-something years, right? But
you could open a book.
yeah, exactly, the CPR troll book. But there was this comment made about Trey, doing his dance, the one where he humps the floor or whatever, and he's doing it at 52, and somebody made a comment about them being too old to do it, and I'm like, freestyle started in the 80s, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I love the fact that he handled it so well. He was like, and I'm not quoting this perfectly, but, and you should listen to the podcast, Judy Torres, A Beautiful Life. Beautiful Life is a great podcast and also a great song. I got a freestyle version too of that. Is amazing. But, it's just funny that he's like, I'm 52 and I'm still able to do it. I'm in shape, and he's inspiring people to do it. For one comment to really take you out of your norm, that you feel like, I'm gonna answer it. Then he took it upon himself to explain the reasons why. Please watch or listen to the episode. It's on your podcast channels. It's called Judy Torres, A Beautiful Life with Trey from TKA. But following that norm, we're gonna read one from us. So you guys remember we haven't gotten together like this in about 8 weeks, and
Yep, it's been a minute.
somebody listened to the audio version of the podcast, and they said this show would be perfect if it weren't for Ego, the living DJ. I'm not sure if he said that correctly. I said, well, if the music is the focus, the show is bearable. So I'm bearable when the show focuses on freestyle. When the show shifts into Ego's tirade and endless drama, followed
Do
by
they
some
do they listen to the show?
artists said this or artists were complaining about that. That's when it's all ruined. I still got 3 stars out of 5. I won't say the person who wrote it, but my only response to that person is, have you listened to the other 699 episodes?
That's what I just said. It's this goes against what I kept saying on every live we ever do. Stop talking about something unless you have the actual knowledge to back it up.
Yeah, so I have the knowledge to actually back it up. I'm the guy that the top tier artists come to debut their music, right? And I'm the one that I can call TKA, and like we were doing today. I'm the executive producer of TKA and Actual and whatever other parts of the groups are creating, right? And I can tell them I don't like this, change that, and I can give my input, and it's taken. And either they can say "F you CPR" or they just move on. But no matter what, it's always respect, right? But I can do the same with the freestyle community, and I can give them factual information. And even though I'm giving them factual information that's detailed, as soon as I'm done, it's like, nah, that didn't happen that way. I'm like, so I read the comment, and it's not that it bothered me, but it's like, did they even listen to the 699 episodes before? Like, I've been podcasting since 2009. There's a top 40 countdown for 11, 12 years now. You know what I mean? You could find out which was the hot song in 2011 if you wanted to by listening to my podcast. So I've always made it about the music, but I do agree that freestyle has become that genre where people are looking for that attention from me specifically, and they're doing a lot to get it, you know. Um, and I'll let you guys chime in whenever you're ready, but it just seems to me like they write stuff on social media and they're waiting for me to respond, so then they can really come with the attack that they want to come with. Like I got a screenshot of an artist saying that we slept together, and I'm like, what? You know, it's like it's crazy. And there's a couple of other things that have happened, you know, where somebody says, you know, CPR, he does this, you know, he does that, and I'm like, I got a phone call because I quoted a pro wrestler that I met at IHOP because I was waiting for almost 2 hours for my breakfast, and I had no idea it was him, and I had not seen him wrestle professionally in about 5 years, and I kind of like I marked out what they call it because it was cool because that day I was supposed to meet Ron Simmons, the other wrestler, but I couldn't make it because I was waiting for my breakfast, right? And so the guy gives me the information for the pro wrestling channel. I come and watch it. I watch his title match where he wins as a bad guy. And at the end, he goes, "Stand up and cheer for me," which is
Oh, I
it's a
remember the
great gift.
post.
Yeah, his name is Dan the Man. And can you believe it? That same night, I got a call from an artist asking me if that was about them. And I couldn't believe it because I've been in my best behavior for months, right? I've been in my best behavior for months, and it's like, are you talking about me? I'm like, are you kidding? Like the last time that I spoke to you, you know, we were talking about like, you know, other things that are more important. Like I thought you were calling me because you had new music or whatever the case may be, but they're calling me to ask me if the post was about them. I don't know. What do you guys see in the freestyle troll community?
Cliff?
Yeah. You know, I think we talked about this at one point where social media is great for reaching out to your fans, you know, that advertising, the promotion. The downside is when you want to read everything, you need to see everything, and that's where it just goes downhill, you know. When you look at, you know, the professional athletes, I'll use them for an example, you know, some of them are on there, but most of the times it's their publicist because they want to stay off because you know what happens.
Yep,
90% negative, 10% positive.
yep.
And in the freestyle community, nobody can afford a publicist, so everybody's got to do it themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
so it's 99% negative,
Yeah.
1% positive, you know.
Yeah.
I guess, you know.
yeah, and
What about you, Cheryl?
Well, I don't know if it's different being a female than a male in doing what we do. I would just in terms that I get a lot of sexualized responses to everything. I could post a picture of my house and they'd say that's the sexiest house I've ever seen. And it's like, listen, I'm very careful about what I post. And then they'll always have something to say. And then it's the ones that are kind of watching you, even though they're not following you. You got a live going on Facebook, but they're kind of like go screening it, without actually going in to watch you. But they're
Yeah.
still, and I just don't understand. I think this is what has held this genre back from day one, and it drives me nuts. And I don't get the whole concept. Like, if I grew up, like my mother said, if you ask questions, right? If you got a problem with somebody, you want to know something, you want to confirm something, ask the person. Hey, did you do this? Did you say this? Were you over here? What's the story with this? But no, instead they will assume, and they'll come in your DMs and they'll talk to you. I had a situation not too long ago where I brought it to your attention a couple months back, and it was, of course, we're not going to mention names, but she was very nasty. And with this whole, who do I think I am? And well, I'll tell you who I think I am. I'm somebody who studied this genre for decades, trained my butt off. I know what I'm doing, and for the most part, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this music. So if anybody who's come against me in my DMs and said, where do you find your place? Like, who do you, the Duchess, where do you get off? I get off by having trained and studied and researched and been obsessed and took the time to know what I'm doing. Like, I didn't just get on the air, as you know, and just start, mouthing off. And that's, with my personal situation, that's the problem. A lot of people are not understanding that I didn't just pick up the mic one day, go on the radio and Chamelias. Like,
Yeah, she went.
there's
She went through.
intelligence
She went
behind
through.
that.
She went through actual training by someone
Yeah.
who graduated from college with the ability to train someone else.
Right.
What I've seen lately is that people have got on social media. They have been labeled by an artist. The artist put the stamp on them, right? Like for example, I know that Cliff doesn't do this, but I will ask anyways. Would you allow an artist to put their logo on your logo?
Oh
Never.
no.
Right. So now I see people or DJs that have a logo or some kind of advertising, and they have an artist, not particularly a good one, but they have an artist stamp their logo on there. So now that person it can be trusted. They have to be thrown out of the DJ circle because of the fact that they are paid and bought for by that DJ, and they're not impartial. You know
Right.
what I mean? So of course,
Right.
let me preface this by saying I know what you will say. You will say that I am an artistic DJ, 418, TKA, Jay Adams, everybody. Every year I have a new person that I succumb to or bow down to, right? No, I am a DJ that promotes good quality freestyle content. And if it
Right.
happens to come from Jay Adams, that's not my fault. That's the fact that Jay Adams knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
He is a CPR's Clubhouse original. He did come out of my label, but the production part, I had nothing to do with that. He did that on his own
Hmm.
because he can replicate anything. So if that man can record the vocals of Monet and George Anthony and put them together to sound like $1 million
Mm.
and pass those vocals over. So Julio Mena
Yeah.
from Melody Monster could put it together into this extended mix. And now that's the number one song in freestyle right now. How is that my problem? How is it that I'm being biased or that I'm giving people free passes? Nelson Rego had to wait 2 years when everybody said that he was ready. I was like, no, he's not. And the same thing I will say about Luis Guevara or that Jose or Joe, whatever his name is, the new guy. Um, I, I I forgot his name.
David, Jose, David.
Jace David. It's Jace David.
Jace.
There's
Okay.
talent there. There's talent there, but you just can't jump and give people stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so the branding stuff is is disheartening for me.
Well,
Um, you being the violent assassin, you having this great character and probably unbendable character. You're not for sale. Um, how do you see things as the DJ that you are?
Well, we'll just go to Nelson Rego, for example, right? To your point, 2 years. I remember having a conversation over a year ago with somebody who was in his camp, and they said, "What
Right.
do you think?" I said, "Listen, I think the guy's an entertainer. I think he's
Mhm.
got a great voice, but the person who's in charge of his production is not giving him freestyle production.
Right.
So it's not going to work. You need to get him to somebody who understands the genre, who understands the melody, and to work with what he has. And to your point, whether it was Jay Adams who stepped up and provided that to him, it did all of a sudden put him into a spot where he wasn't getting played before, right? It's
Yeah.
all about who's handling you, who's doing your work. And listen, we know right now, when if you pick out, if you can say, give me 5 artists right now, probably 4 of them are using Jay Alps. So when it comes to, oh, hey, you're supporting one or the other. Hey, everybody's going to him for the music. It's coming out great. So hey, that's what I'm
yeah.
playing.
Yeah, and again, he's responsible for Mia Inside Out. He's responsible for Nelson Rego's Broken and We Were Meant to Be. Again, if it's quality freestyle music, then that's what I'm going to play. Coming soon, we have new projects that are going to be released. I'm waiting for those. I also, I haven't had a number one song by Jams in a while. I think the last one was Nelson Rego's Broken, but it's irrelevant where the music comes from if it's quality, right? And you don't get any special treatment here. You can ask any artist. That's why I'm the most hated and also the most sought after, right? That's why people try to bite what I do and create their own version of what I do. That's why when I had a Tasmania panel 2 weeks ago, immediately after my Tasmania panel, there was a panel somewhere else. And again, I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the information going out. Did they do their homework, and did they put out a good product for the audience to consume? Because there's a lot of bad information going out there. And I take it as I am the most responsible person when it comes to giving factual information from the horse's mouth. And we have plans for the future, an artistic panel, because people requested it. We're going to do an Effective Records panel with Miguel Reyes and Sammy
Nice.
C, hopefully, if he agrees, and a few other people. We got George Lamont coming on the show. We have, hopefully Sapphire and her project with her husband. And so we're trying to, create good content. I'm not going to answer people and or go after people with giving factual information anymore. But I am seeing a lot of people getting bought off, especially the DJs who are supposed to be impartial. And I needed to have that conversation especially with Cliff Potts here, because like I wanted to know if he noticed it. The fact that people are stamping logos on your logo.
Yeah,
Not
I
your.
mean, first, right, as a DJ, that's your, your calling card. That's your, sign, your promotion. I mean, it's all about you, right? Because at the end of the day, most of these DJs are trying to get gigs, so promote yourself. Once you start putting labels on there, and I'm gonna be real honest, some of the labels on there are from artists who will never gonna get booked by any big promoter. So if I'm a
Right.
promoter and I'm looking, I'm going, "Yeah, what is this guy doing? You know what? All right, let me go to the next guy." So they don't
Right.
understand. It may think it helps them from an artist perspective, but long term, no, because most of these new artists, I hate to say it, are going to come and go.
Yeah, a couple DJs that have had conversations with me. Maybe have even tried to join the crew. Um, but I saw that they've gotten some spots, but on the bottom lower third, there's a logo from somebody else, and I'm like, they're buying pay for it. I can never trust them with an opinion, or getting an opinion from them that's unbiased. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have a bias because the logo's there. You
Right.
know, if you see the CPR's Clubhouse logo, right, and you see artistic on it, or if you see 418 or whatever, it's because I'm going to premiere one of their songs, and it's because I know it's quality. Because I have the experience to tell you what quality is. I can turn down songs from people that are played somewhere else because I know that they can do better. You know what I mean? And we've had this discussion before. And it isn't that because I think that I'm better than anyone else. It's because there has to be a standard, right? There has to be a standard where you have a radio show that plays good quality freestyle content. There has to be a standard where DJs don't allow artists, especially artists that were never nothing in the 90s, never nothing in the 2000s, and are just getting back on their feet now, and they're 50 years old, and now they want to stamp their logo on your DJ skills that you've been perfecting for 15, 20, 25 years as you were a kid. I don't want to age you, Bible assassin.
It's been a
But
while.
how have you been putting into your freestyle?
I'm sorry, I missed the last.
How long have you been putting into your freestyle craft as a mixer?
1986.
Wow.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yep.
I'm doing math right now, but I would say it's
Don't
been
Yeah,
ask
30,
me.
old.
right? Something. But and I remember being 15 and trying to be a DJ, and I was good. And I if you put two turntables in front of me in a mixer, I'll be fine. You put the new technology, I might need a month's work of how to do everything together. But I was a good house DJ. I was a good club DJ. Um, I had my time doing that, but I wanted to focus on freestyle music, right? And if you put all that time in to becoming perfect at what you do. Just like I've taken the time to learn as much as I can about the genre and to make sure that I give real information. Um, if you're going to put all that time just to let some pelagato put their logo on your logo, then what was it worth it for? Is you sold out. You know what I mean?
As I tell, as I tell an artist, the key is if you listen to my mixes, if you're in an event where I'm playing, if I play your song, you know you're rocking it. It's something that's good. If I don't, then you can ask the question, hey, how come you're not playing my track? Right. It's not going to be, I'm not going to promote you on a flyer. I'm not going to do anything unless, your point, somebody says, hey, Cliff, at this event, can you play my song? Nobody's heard it yet. Then I might say, hey, listen, I'm going to let you know that I'm playing this artist's song at this event. But I'm not stamping, something that's permanent, with your logo on there for,
Right.
branding. No way.
Whatever happened to like the whole concept of like hard work and like not wanting to use somebody else's name to gain value or to gain popularity? I mean, I think when I first started, I came up with my little Freestyle Flashbacks logo, and it was all cute and perfect, and I put that up everywhere, and I would include Clubhouse dance music because it is a part of Clubhouse dance music. They're sister shows. They're one is owned and they're all intertwined. But never would I have thought to use Clubhouse to gain popularity for people to know who I am. I just don't understand the concept that somebody would want to label themselves with someone else's logo and have people come to them and know who they are and gain notoriety for someone else's name. And then once they sort of separate and part ways, then they move on to the one that obviously brought
Right.
Yeah,
the
I think.
noise, and they're left.
Yeah, I think part of it is, some of these DJs, and I'll call it out, because as I said, I've been around a while, maybe not in all the areas, but, I'm still familiar. And
Yeah.
most of these DJs probably haven't spun in a real club ever in their life. So,
Right.
it's on social media. They find, the 20 or 30 people who are saying, oh man, hey, thanks for supporting them. You're great. I'll come and support you. And that's how they think, well, let me get these 30 people to come support me because I don't know where else to turn to, and I'm going to stamp my logo for this artist, and hopefully he'll get some people over. But to your point, Shaw, that's not the way to build it.
Right.
Build it from hard work, quality, skills, and the rest will fall in place. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and if you go back to some of the episodes that I've hosted, I can tell you how I earned my name. I was in high school. We had a newspaper club, and I wanted to do a radio show, and I mimicked my radio show to the host from Clubhouse Dance Music, Jesus the Juice Vasquez, Louis Rodriguez, Alex Rivera, Sonny Marini, some people that are known in New England, and especially Jesus the Juice. There would be no freestyle if it wasn't for him. But I was there, at the 1992 before I graduated in that basement with these wooden 45 turntables with the top on them, trying to play freestyle on Friday mornings, doing the announcements, and people for the most part hated it because that was the time where hip hop was on the rise, and I transitioned to college, and then I got into 103.5. I didn't go directly to 90.7 trying to get in because I didn't know how to, nor did I want to be like clinging on to them. I wanted to earn my spot, and so I did 103.5 for a good 4 years of me waking up every Saturday and being there from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And once a year, we did a 24-hour marathon of 24 hours of freestyle. And there's a lot of people that pass by. I did hundreds of interviews. You could Tease to Please, Jocelyn Enriquez, Joey May, anyone from Tasmania.
Sapphire, one of my favorite interviews you did with Sapphire.
Just so many. Rochelle, when she was 15 back then. Just so many people that I did interviews with that I had them on cassettes. So people are like, what are the cassettes? We'll talk about that later. But and so it was only after being at this low impact radio station with a 10-watt radio station with an antenna on the mountain where the soldiers' home is. And the only reason why people could listen to us was because the signal would hit a 45 minute expander because it was the top of the mountain, right? So it would expand, 45 minutes around the area. There was some areas where it was completely dead, but there were some areas if you were on the highway, you would get that straight signal all the way until mid Connecticut.
Yep.
And I remember putting a show together with the Latin Express, and I remember Jesus the Juice actually hosted. It wasn't me, even though I was promoting it. He hosted, and he asked specifically, "Does anybody know about Clubhouse dance music?" And people cheered. And then he said specifically, and I remember like it was yesterday, does anybody know this little show called CPR's Clubhouse? And people went bananas. And that was the first time that I ever earned something where I found out that my work is the reason why people are cheering. His response was, "Oh, I see his whole family came," which is hilarious, you know. But that day I earned his spot, and I was able now to fill in sometimes on 90.7, you know. And then I worked my way to become a member of that show, and in the end, I ended up taking it over. But again, it's 20 something years of me dedicating myself every Thursday, 6 to 8, every Friday, 8 to 12 midnight. I don't miss time. You know, I had a medical issue months ago. We still had our show on time. It's connecting with the correct people. Um, and I wish these DJs the best. And I'll move
Yeah.
on. I will move on from the subject, but I just wished for them to be unbiased. And if anybody wants to question my biasness, you could ask any of the people that I play how hard I am on them first. You could ask, you know, and I always use this example. K7, who hit me up today, was asking me about, you know, a new project, and I told him exactly how it, you know, I would want it, and he disagreed, and we went back and forth, and then we just kept it moving. But it's able to have that conversation, not having somebody, um, you know, not trust that DJ or losing trust on a DJ because they've been paid for. That is a big issue, and if you have already been bought, you need to buy your soul back right now because you don't want to be one of those DJs. And I'm glad that I'm connected to two people right now that are not for sale. So I appreciate you guys. Because you know, DJ Cliff Potts can go anywhere he wants.
Yeah.
People will be stupid, and I'm saying this, you know, with you here, not to have you on their show. You are the most responsible person I have ever teamed up with. The fact is, right? I asked them when I did my Tasmania panel for a Tasmania mix. By the end of that week, after I published the Tasmania episode with Pure Pleasure, Miguel Reyes, and Gennaro, which you can see right now on YouTube, the mix was there for Sunday, which I can reuse again for Friday. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because, you know, I've heard it, but the New England hear it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but no,
so
no, thank you for that. And you know what? It's I think back to your point. You know what? Both of you, I have much respect for both of you. I know how hard both of you work, and it's about the quality, right? No, no, no matter what everybody says, they don't know the whole side of the story where they talk about 418, TKA, whatever. You know, they don't see anything. So you got to brush it off. And, you know, most of the people who say that have been in the business, you know, since, you know, Facebook in the last 3 years. So,
what I will
Right.
say is anybody who attacks me online, I've helped. You know, anyone who's attacking me right now on social media, I have helped. I have bent over backwards for them. And if this is the repayment, then you know, it may be because I said something or did something that they feel is not proper. You know, I've always been straight and upfront with everybody, and I tell them how I am, and I'm not. You can't buy me. You know what I mean? And believe me, there's times where I'm like, damn, I need $100. You know, but I'm not gonna want to go to that person. And sometimes I've made that mistake, and it's a learning lesson to go to people, you know, but it's because later on they're gonna throw that in your face.
Right.
You know, just like the DJs that have that logo in their in you know in their logo, they're gonna have that thrown in their face. And
But they're doing it because they want to bring they want people to notice them, right? This is why you would put somebody else's logo on your own stuff. You want to bring attention to yourself through somebody else. And I think they're downplaying themselves. And the one problem that bothers me too is that just because a song is super popular and is out there, it doesn't mean it's quality. So a lot of people ride on the coattails of what other people are like listening to, and it doesn't make it a good song. It just makes it like everybody's trying to copy the other person. And then go ahead. No, I see you. Go ahead.
no, it's just that they also kill the business for certain areas because
Right.
because
Right.
the perception is this guy is hot right now, right? And they're gonna bring me money, so they're gonna book them. They're gonna send
Right.
them to the area where they think they're gonna be hot, Nobody shows up but the DJ, the promoter, and the promoter's wife or spouse, and then that night is dead, and that's it. Because that the perception is the artist is hot, but they can't bring 10 people to go see them.
Right, right. It's a trickle effect. It
Everybody's
really
so
is.
happy. Everybody's so happy when they can see it for free on Facebook Live.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think, and that posed the question, which is, where was everybody this weekend?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where was everyone this weekend because there were two different events happening, and I commend them again. I commend them. I commend Detroit. I commend Texas, uh, Detroit, Michigan, and Texas for putting these events together. I commend them, but they have to start thinking about the bottom line. How are you going to grow freestyle in your area? And that is you need one. You need one star, not 10 in a row. You need one person that you can, you know, promote that,
That'll
excuse me,
sell a ticket.
that'll sell a ticket. Um, and, and that's something that we've been doing here for a long time. We already have the ball rolling. Like I could bring Miguel Reyes Jr. to sing Those Were the Times now, and it'll sell out the house. We could bring George Anthony. The promoters at Aquarius are like, we're ready to bring him back, because they see all the work that he's doing, and he can bring people in because I can say George Anthony's coming, and there's going to be some women that want to come see George Anthony. They don't care he's married, but you know
Of
what I
course.
mean. You're going to come see him, and so you got to build one artist. To me, there has to be a place like Texas or Michigan that takes Diddle D and they just promote Diddle D and just Diddle D this, Diddle D that, and that's it. You know what I mean? Pick someone.
Mhm.
Somebody get in the studio with Fabian and get him a couple more good songs, and promote Fabian all day. Rudy Fausto. Just take these people and promote them. Take one woman, one man in a group. Tasmania did this. That my point in the podcast from our previous event was when I first got introduced to Tasmania, it was a Stephanie Bennett picture and a Pure Pleasure picture. The
Hmm.
the white meat baby faces is what I called them, and that's what they would just throw in front of you. And if you would
Right.
consume that, you know, for Viper, it was Deneen, it was Collage. For artistic, at the beginning, it was Lorenzo Delan. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just Wendy. You got to start building that one artist. Everyone's trying to build a bunch of people at the same time, and you can't do that, especially in certain areas. I know that Stephanie Bennett has been in Texas. Every week I think it appears for months. And so that's how you build someone over there. You know what I mean? Like I see some of the shows that she does. I can't tell you if they're profitable because I'm not the promoter. I don't speak to those promoters. I don't know the promoters, and I'm not throwing a dig at them. But it's building one artist and keeping it going. They've done 3 videos with her. I think she's built already in some areas in Texas. Now you got to
Oh
pick another
yeah.
artist to build, and you just pick another one and another. That's how you build rosters in freestyle. That's how you build shows in certain areas of the country.
And I would assume the same could go right, Cliff, for DJs. The more and more you put your butt out there and do the hard work and show what you do, even if you got to go stand on the block and do a set for 45 minutes, just let people hear you. Like back in the day, before all the internet stuff happened, it was like a click. Like put in the hard work, mail somebody something. I don't know, but you do what you got to do to make sure people hear how good you are. And like it goes with like Stephanie Bennett. You're absolutely right. People love her down south, like love her out there. She might not get that same love up in Maine. I mean, I don't know, but there she's hot. So, and it's because of the repetition of her constantly going out, constantly putting it out there, doing this, doing that, and it works. The old school way works. The hard work gets you out there and it gives you the quality you need to get better. You get everybody, like you said, the 20 viewers all saying, oh, that sounds fabulous. Well, all right, we'll get into the real world where you're in front of 200 people. You might not get the same, and then you're never going to work harder if you just everyone keeps telling you how great you are.
Yeah, I remember
I, you
at
know,
16 years old, literally talking about cassette tapes. going to club owners, promoters, dropping off,
Right.
here's a 60-minute mixtape, let me know.
Right.
I worked at summer camp, and I did that. I charged them. I think it was $5 or $10 for a mixtape. And back then, you couldn't edit the way you edit now. With 2
Correct.
clicks. Back then,
Right.
if you messed up the mix, you got to do it again from the beginning. And I
Yep.
messed up that. I would go to work. I would mess up that mix 3 times. I will go back to work the next day, come back again, and try to get that mix in. It was frustrating. In the end,
Sure.
I did make enough money to buy my DJ equipment because I have my salary plus the mixtape stuff, and I started doing parties, and I was successful. And again, I don't mind battling somebody vinyl to vinyl, right? Not you, Cliff. But it's like I got a chance to train DJ Personal, and now he's amazing.
He's
So
great.
again, it's just a situation of building and building, and there's a difference between being internet famous and having people on a
Yeah.
live than people showing up to see you live. I see a lot of people basing they're already chomping at the bit. I'm gonna make $2,000 at the show from this one artist because they got 2,000 viewers, and then the night comes, there's nobody in the club, but the viewers are ready to watch that show for free, where somebody puts on
Right.
Facebook Live.
Right.
Yeah, and I think back to your point, Cheryl, about not putting in the hard work, right? We grinded back then because CPR. You said it. The technology wasn't it as it is today. If you did a 60-minute mix, you better be on point for 60 minutes
Right.
because you couldn't go back and edit it.
Right.
But to the plus side of that today is, and trust me, there's a lot of DJs in the freestyle genre that either choose not to put in the hard work. And I say that because now you should be making your own edits. Technology is so easy to do it
Right.
because
Right.
you have DJ A to DJ Z. They're all playing the same Little Susie, Take Me in Your Arms, the same way that everybody else is playing it. Nobody's doing it different. And, and heads will give a shout out to Tim because Tim re-edits everything. Tim
Yeah.
gives you something different from the song that nobody else is doing it. And there's a difference there. Unfortunately, promoters don't see it. DJs aren't picking up to say, "Hey, I need to learn that." Just like you learned how to mix, learn to do something else.
Right.
It's a new day.
Right.
Yeah. So it brings me back to a comment I made this week on social media. There's a lot of $100 artists making pretend that they're $1,000 artists. So are you writing on your forehead?
No, I had an itch.
Okay. I just thought you were writing on your forehead. I thought you would have put a mark on you like $100 artist.
My friends, no.
Yeah. So there's a difference between that. But I want to say one thing before we get into that. Cheryl Rodriguez put in a whole year of work, of coming on her own time to do production work. All right, that she got thrown into. And she produced 3 1-hour CDs that were perfect with underwriting spots, commercials, with the weather, with everything. You think, you're picky with mixes. I'm picky with those 3-hour shows because I have to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when I would get to the first one, not for her, but other members of the class, and I'm like, I don't want this. This is terrible. You're putting your audience to sleep. And so she put in work for many, many years, and she still is because I give her notes. I've been listening to her for the last couple of weeks, and I send her notes, and she never says anything negative to me. Or she doesn't say thank you, and she moves on to the next show. And so, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And so, anybody questioning her dedication, please, she's going to take over the show soon because so the difference between $100 artist and $1,000 artist. What are your opinions on that? I will start with you, Cliff. What is the difference between $100 artist and $1,000 artist?
Stage presence. You can see some of the artists, whether it's in their outfit, to the way they engage the crowd, to the way they perform, to even their backup dancers. I saw somebody, I think this week, they had jeans on with a tucked in shirt, and it looks like they just got done eating, and they're singing. Not knocking them, but if that's the best that this genre has to offer, we're screwed.
I think that there's a difference, right, of who's the artist and who's the fan. Now it's the artist dresses like the fan, and so you can't tell which one is which. Um, I yearn for artists to mimic and copy people like Lisette Melendez, Cynthia, TKA. You know
Yes.
who the stars are every time they go out.
Yes.
TKA especially because they have a new outfit at every single show. Lisette Melendez, she looks like a star because she is a star. Judy Torres, she's a star. You know, like Noel, I saw that he brought his 80s look to the stage. Coro, same thing. Like, and they can dress whatever way they want because they already paved the way. They already earned their spot. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. And don't mention George Lamont in this conversation because George Lamont could go up there in SpongeBob
Pajamas.
right? I'm talking about new up and coming freestyle artists or artists who are booked for shows and they look just like their audience members. If you drop to the crowd, we don't know who is the fan and who is the artist. The
Right.
only way we can distinguish you is because you have the microphone in your hand. All right. But if you drop that mic, you're just as typical as everyone else. So the fact that people forgot how to dress like a star, it boggles me because there are so many different ways that other genres of music show how somebody could just be a star by just switching something. And I'm not saying get the cockroach killer shoes with the pleat the crease pants or the iron crease. I'm talking about you look like a star. You know what I mean? Look at what Harry Styles is wearing. Look at what it's acceptable for somebody that is in your age bracket, but also looks professional and cool. You know,
Right.
I saw someone at one specific time bringing back a look that I almost like keeled over for, and it was the jeans, and then they had the one leg pulled up to the knee, and then they had a handkerchief in the back, and I'm like, what kind of call is that? You know what I mean? What call? You know what I mean? That what kind of call is that? Um, so again, there is a big difference between $100 artist and $1,000 artist, but there's a lot of conniving going on because the $100 artists are trying to pass as $1,000 artists, and they sound like $100. They sound like a $50 bill. It's like $10 sometimes. And I'm not pointing out. You can see, you can go on all these lives, and the proof is in the pudding. Don't get
Right.
mad at me or call me because you perform like crap. That's on you. If you wanted to show up with shorts and a wife beater, that's on you. You know what I mean? I don't condone violence against women. It's they call them. Um, so it, to me, it boggles my mind how people can just not look like a star anymore.
Yeah.
They just want to be typical, just like they want to come dressed comfortable. Like
And,
if you would allow them to go in flip flops, I'm sure they will go in flip flops.
some of them would, I'm sure. But doesn't it go back to like the very beginning? Like you think of people like Britney Spears or like Christina Aguilera. These girls were based off of image. All right,
Mhm.
everything was how you looked, and I would think to some of these musicians and artists who say, I never heard a musician say, I want to be the best person to sing in all the pubs. No, usually they aspire to, I want to be the one to sell out a giant stadium. I mean, you think bigger, right? So part of that is like what Cliff was saying with the whole image presence. Like you get up there, you want to look like a star. You want to present yourself in the most classiest, most eye-catching way, to just build your whole brand of who your name
And
is.
believe you me, Cynthia catches the eyes
Oh,
100% of the time. Every time
well, let
I
me
get,
tell
I
you, if
get
you
inboxes of pictures of the night before when she was performing, and I'm like, why am I getting these? You don't have a girlfriend, right? And so it's like it's crazy.
no,
Like
no,
and they're like she looks
no.
so good. I
And
get
that's not just pictures. That's in person. Like when you go up to her and you're like, look,
yeah.
they're all covered in jewels, and she's got like gems on everything she wears, and it's just like breathtaking. And she puts effort into her image, and that's half the reason why we know Cynthia to be Cynthia, right?
Right. Lisa Melendez goes up there. She looks like
Same thing.
an operator of an orchestra. You know, she just
Yeah,
looks like, you know,
put
firm
together.
and ready to go. The bustier thing going. You know what I
Yep,
mean?
yep.
And then she just commands the stage. Sapphire, same thing. Um,
Right.
TKA, I go back to them. Like you got to dress the part. That's the first thing. And I don't see the freestyle community, the ones that are chosen now, dressing the part.
No, I think, what I wish some of the new freestyle artists would do is understand that, first of all, the people who engage with them on Facebook, you know, five of them are coming to your show, if that, right? You have the chance, if depending on where you're performing, to gain, a couple new people who will, dig what you're doing, dig your song, dig your stage presence. So when you go out there every time, you don't need to spend $500 on an outfit, but go out
Right.
there with something that somebody's going to walk away, and say, wow, he came out there with this sparkling, jacket, and he danced and his song was good. Man, I can't wait to see him again. You go up there with, to your point, a t-shirt and shorts. Nobody's taken away anything from that, unfortunately.
Right.
When I did the Dream Girls night, Freestyle Fridays Live here in New England, I had a suit on. That entire suit that I bought, cost me $10, brand new, because I went to Kohl's, and I got the coupons. I got everything.
Ooh, that Coles
Had the cold
cash.
cash.
Kohl's
Yeah.
cash, all that stuff. And so to this day, I'm so surprised at how great I looked, and I looked like a star because I dressed like a star. That night, I turned heads. My girlfriend was there, so she was making sure I was on point. And so it was really cool to feel like $1,000,000, to interact with people like $1,000,000. And I felt like a star because you also feel it internally if you dress like one.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm a star. I'm just saying that I dress the part. If I'm gonna do a show, I'm gonna dress the part. I'm not gonna come and dress myself like the audience. I have to dress different. You got to have a
Right.
gimmick.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that people understand that appearance is very important. And then there's some people right now that are like, "Oh, you're saying that I'm $100 artist." No, you're not even an artist yet. You know what I mean? Like there are some fake the funk folks that are up there right now thinking that they're artists. They never have done anything of value, and they're giving themselves a title of freestyle artist because it's one of the easiest titles to put on yourself, right? Just like radio DJ now. Everybody could be a radio DJ. All you got to do is go on social media live, get 10 people to watch you, and then allow an artist to put their stamp on you, and then you're a radio DJ now. You didn't go to any of my trainings. You didn't go to communication school. You didn't get a graduation certificate. You didn't put in a year's worth of training. You don't know the up and down volume. You don't know how to mix your voice to the music. None of that stuff matters now, right? Because you have some guy yelling into a mic and sending shout outs, and that's it. That's all you need, right? At Freestyle Fridays Live, I can just leave Cliff Potts by himself, and he's hosting the whole night. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm on a flyer ass host, he could just do it. That's just how it is. But that the appearance is one thing, and the way you dress is one thing. What's another thing that you feel makes somebody $100 artist?
Makes them an $100 artist. Horrible vocals. You need to get out there. You need to like do your do re mi's like in the bathroom before you go on stage. Some of them, because as just as much importance as appearances, your live vocals, even more to me. There's nothing I love more than somebody who gets on a stage and sounds like they sound on the record. Like you got good vocals, you are a $2,000 artist.
Mm-hmm.
You get up there and you sound like you can't cut a note. There's your $100 artist.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback off of that, I was going to say, you know what, right? It's the lip sync era, right? As an artist, they need to come prepared. And what I mean by that is, have a track with vocals, because we all know sometimes you walk into an event, the sound system is horrible, the mic's horrible, nobody's setting anything, you don't have monitors. So you know what? Let me give you my track with supporting vocals, and I'm going to sing over them.
Over.
But if you're in an event that has the sound, a sound guy, here's just the tracks, with the melodies, but I'm coming out to sing. Don't lip sync your song. That.
Yeah, and there are some people that don't have a TV track, and I understand that. That's a TV track with light vocals, background sounds. I understand that, but if you're at a venue and there's a rope, and then you're singing, and then somebody opens a door, and there's a bathroom right behind, you have to really think: should I be here? Is this doing good for my career? There are sometimes, things you have to say no to. And so that's what makes you $100 artist. The fact that you have to say no. I have been offered trips to Florida. I've been offered trips to Texas. I've been offered a lot. I always turned them down because first of all, we're in a COVID era, but number two is the fact that I want to be prepared to go there. I want to be, in my best health to go there. I want to make sure that I give them a good set. I want to write down some corny jokes. I want to, know who's performing. So I have their information because you also want to give that information. I'm tired of seeing these Facebook live shows that know nothing about the artist. They don't know anything about their background, any of the songs. They don't know how much work they've put into their career so far, any of their hit songs. They don't know when they came out. They don't know anything. They just want to say, hey, we have this team, and this is our team, and this is our brand, and this is the brand that you're going to love it or leave it or take it or not take it. And I'm not pointing out anyone, so please do not inbox me with stupidity. I'm just telling you that you got to put work into your craft, and it not only for the artist, but you also have to educate the people that are booking you. I don't see any more promo packages for anyone anymore. Only digital ones, and that's fine. But I'm talking about, I don't see people with stacks of pictures anymore, and on the back of the picture, it has their information.
Right.
Maybe a QR scan code now for their website. I can't tell you how many years my old partner used to talk about that all the time. Like, he did more work for those artists to be promoted and for people to know them, and he's still doing it more than they do, because nobody.
Right.
I don't see 100% of the artists having their .coms or their websites.
Right. The promoting in this genre stinks. As far as in my opinion, is concerned, there is so much more that an artist can do for themselves. And what's even worse is they come out with a new song and they start promoting it like crazy, right? It's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and then 2 weeks later, after the song has been out, they don't do it anymore, and you don't hear from them again until they're promoting their next song. Well, what about the time in between? Like, do you want people to forget about you, or you want people to know who you are? And they don't market themselves long enough, good enough, in my opinion. One of the downfalls to social, because to touch on what we said earlier, back in the day, you had to actually do so much work to get your name out there. And I think that if some of these artists applied that today, they'd get a little further than just sticking a Facebook or Instagram and really, it limits them.
How many times did you get vinyl given to you by artists when you were at a club to see if you would spin it?
That's something I always happen to talk about, a couple times a year. And that's, I think, what I miss most about the music, right? You are in a club a Friday night, an upcoming artist or an established artist with a good A&R person. They're coming to the club. Hey, listen, can you listen to this? If you like it, can you throw it on during the night? And, yeah, great. But a lot of times it was a lot of artists who, hey, I'm trying to put this record out. Can you, do something
Right.
for me? All right.
And
well,
then you get real feedback, right, Cliff? Because you're live and you get to feel the room of how they're thinking instead of just liking something on Insta.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's a situation where you can see the feedback by how many people are on the floor dancing.
Right.
When we did our shows here when Tasmania first was released, we had people like even Charlie came to Massachusetts and New England to perform with Sanaya, Miguel Reyes, Sammy C, and you would have Jesus the Juice Vasquez spitting their vinyl Um, Randy Kendall, I remember people loving that record because
Mm-hmm.
it was a great record to spin. Even though when he performed live, the record jumped, and we figured out that it wasn't Randy who sang the song. It was, it was Michael Anthony Berto, but
It's
neither
okay.
here nor there. Uh, uh, and Randy Kendall looked like Dustin Rhodes when he was younger. He looked like Dusty Rhodes' son. You know what I mean? I still have his picture somewhere around here, but and it's a test. Nobody wants to test their music anymore because they're afraid of being rejected and they're afraid of the feedback. 100% of the time, and 100% of the reason why people get upset with me and you see them uh, speaking negative of me on social media is because I've rejected their song. I've said something negative about their song, or they assumed that I said something negative about their song, or I did not play their song.
Mm.
You know, and it's a situation where you know it's just whether you are doing a good job promoting yourself, which is the difference between $100 artist and $1,000 artist. Now, again, there are so many other things that we can point out, and we could be here for a long time talking about it. But those are just two things that need to be worked on, you know. And once you do that, then you start seeing the fruits of your labor. It may not take place for 20 years, but you'll see it eventually. Because now is when people are getting booked for songs that they did in 1997, 98, 99. So patience is a virtue in freestyle music.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Another thing is when I put the topic of the $100 artist versus $1,000 artist, another culprit of this happening is the fan. I saw
Mm.
people trying to give a pass to a lot of people with no talent, like Bendito pass. They wanna give them a pass. They want to say that you are hating on them and all this stuff. I think that I've made people better by rejecting them because they understand that I'm trying to stop them from putting out something inferior. But that's only if they take what I say seriously. Um, what I will say though is that the fan, if you go back to that poll, that comment, they were giving a lot of passes. Oh, so what? If people are enjoying it, then let them enjoy it. Yeah, they'll enjoy it right then, but eventually, people will realize that they're horrible and that they're hurting the genre, just like we did in the '90s, right? We had Tasmania One, we loved it. Tasmania 2, we loved it. Tasmania 3, we loved it. Hey, it's Tasmania 4, we loved it. And then here comes Tasmania 5. And I'm like, maybe I don't love it as much as 4 and 3. And then here comes number 6. And you're like, there's only 2 good songs on here. And then here comes 7. Oh, Every Whisper's cool, but what the hell is all this other stuff? And then you get to volume 14, and it's like, how many versions of Rhythm Centric do I need? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So, a little bit of something, same thing in New England when it came to Mr. Musica. Mr. Musica would tell you, hey, man, this is great. It's hot. You got to get it. And you would spend $15. And then you would play it and you'd be like, oh, this is cool. I like it. Go back to Mr. Musica, get another CD.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the point where you're spending $100, right? And then the inferior product starts coming out. And he's still saying it's hot. And then you buy it. And I'm like, this is not as good as I thought it would be. And then here's Luna Volume 7. You know what I mean? Like, what is it? Like, like you start listening to Larry V's Freestyle City Kids, and the youngest artist is 42 at the time. You know what I mean? And you're like, kids, you know what I mean? And you see all these bad compilations churning out. And you just start realizing like the diminishing quality. And I talked about it. I was like Chicken Little, right? Back then, the sky is falling when it comes to quality freestyle music in this area. Let's relax for a moment. Let's sit down and have a panel of people and decide what we're gonna push. Nope. You had one section of Connecticut promoting their own stuff. You have one
Right.
person promoting Bad Tasmania. You have CPR with the artistic stuff and all the quality stuff with Jesus and the other guys. And then it just became three separate shows in three different dimensions. And in the end, because the quality diminished, the product diminished, and the area diminished. So when you give somebody that's $100 artist a pass, you're never going to build them to $1,000 artist, and it's going to diminish until they're worth nothing, not 2 pennies. Because we do that all the time in freestyle. We build them up to $100, and we cash them out. Here's $10.
We have a bad habit of forgetting things in this genre. Very
Yeah,
bad habit.
I don't know. I just feel like we need to get back on track. And speaking of getting back on track, to switch the subject, freestyle in 2021. Cliff Potts, what do you think so far? We haven't spoken in 8 weeks. Has anything changed?
No. I mean, listen, you have the Monet track, right? A great track. AB, I like the AB. C-Bank, once again, another good track. And I will be honest, it took me some listens before it really started to, hook me into the song.
And I blame that on all the inferior stuff. You know what I mean? That people are passing as hot. You know what I mean? You're like, this is actually a hot song. It's well written. It has great production. It's perfect. It's well written. It has a great story. And you're like trying to find a reason not to play it. You know what I mean?
So play it over and over. Great. I mean, the Niaja, like the Niaja. So I think so in those 5 songs, we have quality right there.
Right.
I'm just hoping we're not sitting there. I mean, listen, we know we have the Sapphire project coming out. We heard the snippets from Sapphire, Shy, Tony Moran. I think it's going to be a good song, at least from the snippet. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. So hopefully, that's going to continue the momentum. But right now, that's it. Let's see what happens.
I finally got back to doing a top 10. I was cutting it down to 5 every week, just to prolong, because I was tired of playing a couple of songs on there that were not as quality as I thought it would be. But what about you, Gerald? What have you been hearing that you like?
I mean, I do tend to agree with Cliff. It was a slow start. We got a couple good songs. I think we wrote on Nelson Rego's for a long time, right? And now we have, like Cliff said, this Monet, which I'm in love with. Niaja's Time, excellent song. Me Too with the C-Bank. I think we all had that conversation a while back. It took me a minute as well to really come around and be like, you know what, I'm digging this, and who's that? What the Anthony Ramos? We had a couple really good songs to fill up that top 5. Was like awesome. It was like you couldn't go wrong. No matter when you tuned in, you'd get a song and it was on point, like really good. And I'm really looking forward to the Sapphire like crazy. Like I love her. But I hope that there's other stuff that comes in between, and I don't know how promising it is, but what we have is all we have right now.
Yeah, we also have the actual. We actually have the actual voices of TKA teaming together for a project together coming soon.
Oh, right.
And there's more things to come. But right now, if you were to pick your favorite song right now, what would you play? What would you pick, Cliff?
Monet.
Cheryl?
Monet.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm tying that up with Niaja, because that time is just there's something about it, and I love it. I love the song from start to finish, and especially the Eddie Valentine
edited. 1, not 7.
Well, that's it.
And I think with the C-Bank song, and here's why it took me a little while to get into it was, listen, I'm a Carlos Berrios fan, right? When I put it on, I'm waiting for the Carlos Berrios edits to just start blasting.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, did I miss it? And I had to go back and listen again and listen again. And then I listened to the song and I was like, okay, it's growing on me.
Yeah. So, for me, I was enjoying the Anthony Ramos track because it was inspired by freestyle, and the fact that he went on tour, and while all the negativity was happening in our music, there was a gift being given to us by mainstream media, a mainstream artist who is being celebrated on movies and TV shows is saying, hey, I put this song out because it was inspired by TKA's Louder Than Love. For me, Monet and George Anthony is the best vocally performed song so far in 2021, in my opinion. But my favorite right now, the most well-rounded for me, is Niaja's Time. I can listen to that song all day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because the extended mix. Um, I just love that. I also love Diddle D's "Back Over to You," the ending portion of the song, where he sounds like Mark Anthony to the entire end part of that. I'm like, when did he get Mark Anthony the guest spot on this track? I don't like the rap, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily a fan of rap in freestyle unless it's really good.
Yep.
Like Chris Rivers and the Michaela Rose track. But I don't, I just I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the year. We got a good chunk of the year left.
Yeah.
We got to December. Hopefully, I'll probably have to extend the deadline for the top 40 songs because maybe I'll be able to fill 40. I won't
Well,
be able to.
Nelson Rego will take up 20 of them.
Yeah, Nelson Rego. Oh, by the way, the song that we were talking about, Nelson Rego, he's doing a remake of it again, um, and he's going to name it the CPR's Clubhouse remix. So we'll see if that happens. But that's pretty cool. They sent me a clip of it. It sounds way better. Right? It sounds like a straight up freestyle track, not like a Christmas folly freestyle track. No disrespect to the community that liked it, but quality is quality. You know what I mean? Um, I just want to point out before we go that there is a lot of negative stuff about me on social media. It did take a toll on me for a minute on some things people say because I just can't come out and defend myself because what happens is this is exactly what they want, right? Like they're gonna say something and wait and say I'm gonna get them with this one, and then if I answer them, then it just becomes this bigger issue, and I don't want that because we've had enough of that for the last 3 years. And I had to realize that my part is me always being eager to put people in their place and give them factual information, right? So there are things that are happening in the future in this area, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. Um, I can elaborate on it if I need to, but I don't have to because of the fact that it's not something that I want to address, nor do I need to address. But I do see some of the memes or some of the comments being made by a couple people, and I can't answer these people because one, if I answer them right, for some it may be bullying, right, or a hate crime, or it could be me trying to embarrass somebody on social media, or me getting into a back and forth with someone that I've already let go from my life and I just don't want to answer. But I do read. I do pass that along to my lawyer, and it's not. I'm planning to sue someone type of situation. It's just I always got to back up myself now since somebody reported me to the FCC, and the FCC situation was investigated. We know exactly who did the reporting,
Mm-hmm.
and we have that all locked in with my lawyer as well. But it's just a situation where I'm not interested in getting into back and forth anymore. I'm looking forward to having conversations. And yes, we are 95% about the music on a daily basis. This team right here has 4 hours of content that they are responsible for every week, 52 days out of the year. And let me tell you, we haven't missed a beat, knock on wood. Um, we haven't missed a beat. Um, every week I get Cheryl's portion. Every week I get Cliff's portion. I get I get 40 minutes from Cliff. I get 30 minutes from Cheryl. You get my hour. We just we or my 40, 50 minutes. We are a great team, and we'll keep this going for as long as we can. But I like the fact that this team has never been compromised, and you are people that are able to communicate and be frank with me. We've never had a blow up or an issue or an ego trip or anything. It's only support, support, support. I could only compare this to RD, Latin Nation, and Edie, which will be future guests on this show. Um, I can only compare it to that. I can compare it to Artistic, 418, and TKA, and myself, the Horseman. I can compare it to that. And people can compare it to their teams where they, collaborate together. And we need more of that. We need to grow these collaborations.
Right.
And even though I may not support DJs that I paid off or are not have been compromised in some sort, I can say, if they found a team that accepts them and they're going to do good with the power that they have, then please do good. Don't make it about you. Make it about the artist. Make it about promoting good quality freestyle content.
And look at, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. I was going to say, look at the names that you just threw out there as far as the people who worked together, succeeded, and were very popular. The artistic and arty and all of these groups, they were loyal to each other. They did what they had to do to make the best out of what they were building, and they were successful at it. And I think you'll find that success comes from trust, loyalty, honesty. I mean, you have to be able to tell one or the other person, like, I can't stand that idea, and you work off of that. But that's, in my opinion, part of what makes us successful, is because we are very loyal to each other. We have no problem with, no matter what the opinion is, sharing it and getting feedback, taking feedback, giving it. And I think that's what makes for a very successful unit, whether it be with, like you said, the DJs, producing, or in this case, the crew, just.
But none of you told me that I had this.
What are you doing?
The shirt was not buttoned correctly for the entire
undressing?
show. No, the shirt hadn't been buttoned correctly, so I had like the collar like this for the entire show. And I appreciate those words because it's factual. The fact that we are willing to, we know, like, I know we have our regular responsibilities, but like on Thursdays I'm putting together the show for Friday, and just like that, Cliff is like, "Oh, the mix was set, 2 hours ago." I'm like, "Man, I haven't even started recording my voice." And so that's always positive, and I hope that everyone out there can find a team like that. And another thing I wanted to touch on before we go is that, there's a responsibility that I have as a DJ on the radio, right? If I hear a good quality freestyle song, it doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm gonna play it, whether you like me, you don't like me, whether we have a relationship or we don't. I don't have a relationship with Anthony Ramos, but I heard the song, I bought it, I play it, it became popular. We had it on our show. So it doesn't matter. People are in my ear telling me, "Oh, why are you playing this camp if that camp is shitting on you?" Well, the artists are not to blame for the actions of the label. You know what I mean? If that was the case, then I wouldn't be playing Nelson Rego, right? Because Frankie Cutlass and I were having issues for 15 years. I mean, it's died down. I don't have an issue with him. I'm sure that he doesn't give a crap, right? But and we're not going to be sending each other postcards. But Nelson Rego put out good quality freestyle content. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm looking forward to the Sapphire project. I'm looking forward to Shy. I'm looking forward to Tony Moran, Willie Valentine, Actual. I'm looking forward to all the new projects that are promised for 2021. We need them as soon as possible. And I keep saying this to people, either on private conversations or I tell them now during the show. I don't have a beef with you musically, and I don't have a beef with you personally. You know what I mean? Whatever you feel about me, that's not on me. That's on you. You carry that burden. I'm not carrying your burden for you. If we had a relationship, friendship, partnership, or whatever, and we no longer have it, you can't blame me for that. You know what I mean? It's a situation where that person made the choice to no longer, communicate with me. So I have to accept that, whether I like it or not. I also have to give a shout out to Nicholas Colon, uh, Nick Cologne. Nick Cologne. Big shout out to Nick Cologne because, we were talking about Transformers movie, whatever. But I asked him his opinion on something, and he's always been like, just factual and to the point with me. And no matter what, and he's gotten mad at me, like really mad. And there's only a couple people that I get bothered if they get mad at me. And he's one of them. But he put me straight this week, and I appreciate that. I want to thank him for that. Maybe I'm getting him in trouble now. Now people won't play his song because that's how petty freestyle is. But I'm sorry that I'm overtaking the conversation, but I just wanted to get that out there. I'm not trying to get into conversations about, oh, this person's doing this. What is you going to be your rebuttal, or your fight back. There isn't. Or why are you playing this camp? I'm like, mind your business. I've been doing my show for over 25 years. This is something that I deal with daily for 25 years. People are my friends or so-called friends. I don't play their song or there's a fallout 3 months later. 90-day clause, right? And then they get upset with you and then they hate you forever. I've had the opportunity to mend fences with Louis Marte. Today I called them before I called Sapphire. I told him that, I'm calling you before I'm calling Sapphire, right? See how important you are to me? Stuff like that, making myself feel like I'm important. But, we had a good laugh on that, and he asked me my opinion, and I gave it to him, and he accepted it. We wouldn't have had that conversation a few years ago because we both had to change as men, and we have. I can't tell you what led to Louis Martin changing, but I'm glad that he did. Or maybe it was just me and I needed to change, but I did, and here we are. You know what I mean? But if I made amends with you and I had a conversation with you and I give you my heart because I carry my heart on my sleeve and you shitted on me for it, nothing I can do about it. Yep. I just appreciate what I have now.
Right. And it makes you appreciate it even more because, you live, you learn.
Yep. Yeah, even though your husband promised me a Mac computer and I got a Commodore VIC 20, but, what can you do? Oh, God. It's like, and we're going to be playing a game the next time that we're together is where is the Tenasia record?
I got to spend a little time with him last week. He's been doing some shows lately. So his dad is on the mend, which is great news. He's an awesome guy. So hopefully he'll get to redo or come back out with this record that got stalled because of him taking care of some family matters.
And look, man, if you have any issues with me, if I haven't cut you off yet, hit me up. Now, if I already blocked you, don't hit me
up. And don't hit me up because he blocked you.
Now remember this, right? There is no prize for you blocking someone, and there is no I got one over on somebody. No, man, like in real life, when you're done with someone, you're just done with someone. You know what I mean? There's no coming back. Just like people are done with me, I'm also done with them. And I'm one of those people that forgives very easy, and I forget all the stuff that happened. And I've been doing that for so long. I get calls from Angel Mena all the time trying to choke me through the phone. What are you doing? But and he knows my heart. I know his, and he knows mine. And so from now on, I just have to keep my distance from a lot of people because they're trying to build their legacy on top of mine, and that just can't happen. Whether it be on social media or whether it be clout or arguing or whatever. Like I'm done with that. I don't want that. I want to provide knowledge and good quality freestyle content because our history is being rewritten as we speak right now. I think Cliff is ready to go on the bike right now.
I did this morning. That doesn't mean no, I won't do one tonight.
I have a coworker who puts on a Netflix show, and the only way that they can watch the Netflix show is if they go on the bike. So they have to go on the bike, and if the episode's an hour, they're gonna stay on the bike for an hour.
Wow.
And watch the episode. I tried that. I started doing the 10-minute Transformers. Yeah, I made it to about 3 minutes in the Transformers, and then I'm like, I don't need to watch this. All right, I don't need to watch this at all. But man, thank you guys so much, and I guess we'll see each other this week for CPR's Clubhouse Crew in New York, right?
Sure
yes,
will.
Sir.
And also CPR's Clubhouse Crew New England, because we always sneak in reruns of Cliff Potts on there. And of course, Cliff and I, CPR's Clubhouse Crew California. We're still looking to expand, and there's a lot of prospects out there, so we look forward to that. And if you want us to add content to your radio station, please contact us. We will be more than willing to discuss it. Tasmania Mix was on point this week. I can't wait to play it. I'm going to jump on the treadmill and listen to 4 minutes of it and then get off. Hopefully, I'll
Come
be done
on,
with
you
it.
could do 5 minutes. Come on.
Yeah. Anything that you guys want to say, because I've been yapping away.
No, man, it's great. I think it's been a great conversation. We touched on a lot of good stuff and important stuff.
Yeah, there's a few things that I wanted to also address, including the generations of freestyle. I think we're in our 5th generation, maybe, of freestyle. So I wanted to start moving away from new school, old school to generation 1, generation 2. Like generation 1, of course, is TKA, George
Right.
Lamont, Stevie B, and then generation 2, the little Susies and collages, and generation 3, 4, whatever. So we'll figure that out and discuss it in the future, because I need to talk to the legends in regards to that, so we can start trying to really explain the generations and the way the community is supposed to be addressed.
Right.
Because like new school, old school, they don't like the new breed, the rejects, the whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody always has some kind of label.
Well, we ain't all gonna live forever, so we got we're playing for the next generation, so we got to get them up to par, man. I mean, they got to know where this music comes from, that they'll appreciate it more, and they'll keep it going for us. Because I
Yeah,
certainly didn't give birth to the next generation. My kids can't stand freestyle, and I hate admitting that, but it's true.
all
So
right. So what is the
I'm
address of
counting.
where you live? Because
Yeah,
CPR is gonna come over and whip them real quick.
yeah.
Ever disread, saca la mano. But you ever disread. I hate that when they had the belt and they're breaking down every single syllable. You know what I mean? They're breaking one short word into 3. I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? You
Yeah.
know,
Making
saca.
it 10 times longer.
I know, it's like that 1 minute whooping is like 2 hours, man. It's crazy. I don't condone anything or
You have to
animals.
say that. That's what's sad. You have to say that.
The sad part is that we turned out all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Not everything that I read on my timeline is about you. They're actual jokes. I try to be funny, and they are funny. You can't tell me that, the things that I post on social media are not funny. We'll talk about that some other time. Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end the
Thank
show
you.
here. Don't forget to tune into CPR's Clubhouse Live every Thursday and every Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and 8 p.m. to 12 midnight, 90.7 FM, WTCC, with all of us on there somehow. Duchess, CPR, and Cliff, 90.7 FM, WTCC. You can look for us on the TuneIn Radio app or the radio app. Also, Rhythm 105.9, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time on Fridays, with the CPR's Clubhouse Crew California, Cliff Potts with a mini 10-minute mix, CPR with the countdown. And of course, on Sundays, you can catch all of us on the CPR's Clubhouse Crew New York on Party 1019. It's on your iHeart app or iHeart radio station. Look for Party 1019, New York's throwback station. And we're going to be there from 5 to 7 Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. And then anyone else that wants us on their program, we are the best. What can I tell you? We're the best. We're not for sale. You can't put a logo on us unless we have 2 hours. Okay. Guys, have a good night.
You
You
too.
as
See you
well.
later.
Bye,
Talk
guys.
soon.
Bye.